Hey, welcome in.
Welcome to the Arrowhead Addict podcast.
We are here coming to you live.
The Kansas City Chiefs are going to the Super Bowl. You only win a Super Bowl 2 times every 5 years, right?
Oh!
The warm-up act is over. Let's bring in Melissa Etheridge, massive Chiefs fan. Melissa,
Super Bowl champion, 2-time Pro Bowler, and Trent Green. Trent Green, how you doing?
Hey, what's going on, guys?
and he picked it up! He picked it up! He's gonna score! And we'll see you next week. But until then, as always, go Chiefs.
Boom, boom, macka-lacka-lacka boom. Boom, boom, macka-lacka boom, boom. Open the door, get on LaFleur. That coach has never lost in December before. What's going on? We got Packers versus the visiting Chiefs in the frozen tundra, having tons of fundra out there on the field, if you will. And Matt LaFleur's never lost this month. You know who else has never lost? This combination. Adam Best, Sterling Holmes, myself coming to you live with the Arrowhead Addict pregame show. Excited to see you guys. How are you feeling on this road game Sunday night?
I feel good. I think the Packers are kind of a sneaky hot team, but I believe during that second half in Vegas, like many people do in Vegas, the Chiefs found themselves. The Chiefs offense found itself because of this guy right here.
Look at him, just
Rashee
bragging
Rice.
from the outset. Just bragging from the outset.
Hey, man, we have been stuck in wide receiver purgatory many a time here in Kansas City. So when we get a legit dude, we have to celebrate.
Love it. Love it. Sterling, how are you, without getting in the weeds, how are you feeling generally about Chiefs Pack?
Incredible. I feel phenomenal. This is ideal. I'm ecstatic. I'm excited. This is going to be an easy Chiefs dub, and I'll tell you why a little later on in this podcast.
Man, by the way, where's your jersey? We got active roster represented. I got injured reserve represented with my Prince Tega Winogo. What, you got history represented? You got something?
The Prince jersey is just an unbelievable pull.
Dude, where's he
How many
going?
people have one of those?
I mean, I had to lose a bet. I had to special order this sucker from some, I don't know. Dude, the first Noel. It's Christmas time there.
It's Christmas time, baby. And yeah, that's a authentic Nerlens Noel signed jersey for you. Maybe one of the only ones in existence. But because it's Christmas time, baby, the Chiefs, Noel.
Dude, I love it. I love it. Let's get in the weeds here. We got the pregame show. We got a lot to talk about, my friends. And Adam, I want to start with you here because this, look, let's start with the general. You got, I saw crazy winds blowing from some pregame like video shots. First trip ever to Lambeau. Is there anything about like sort of the atmosphere of the game, home team? Lambeau's a great place, great home turf. Like going to Arrowhead provides some advantages there. Any aspects of that part of the game appeal to you or make you afraid in any way?
Not afraid, but I think anytime you can play in Lambeau Stadium, there's so much history there. My grandfather actually briefly played for the Packers, Bino Best. So
Whoa.
I have an affinity for that stadium. I also married into a Packers family, but I think Mahomes is going to be very fired up to play there. The weather's not going to affect them. I mean, we always talk about the weather. Unless you have some crazy wind in like Cleveland or something, most of the time we overstate the impact of the elements. So I just think the Chiefs are going to come out, continue what they did the second half and build upon that offensively. And they got Kadarius Toney back this week. I'd like to see him worked in. No Aaron Jones. I think that's going to be a huge blow to the Packers. That's their most dynamic playmaker. That's their most dependable playmaker. So they're stuck with A.J. Dillon, who hasn't been been very good. And I think Patrick Taylor, who was sitting on the couch 2 weeks ago as their running backs. I think our linebackers are going to have their way with those guys.
Let's talk about inactives and who's in and who's out, because there's a lot to talk about here. Sterling, I'm going to go to you on this one. Earlier this week, the Chiefs activated 2 guys, Echo Boyedo and Deneric Prince, right? Now, both of those guys could have easily been left on the inactive list, even as healthy scratches, just to be there, just in case. Instead, Jarrett McKinnon is out, which we already knew was going to be the case. But then Nick Jones, Ball State corner, 7th rounder, is also sitting today. That means both those guys could make their NFL debut today. Let's start with the defensive side, because I know you like the K-State kid. But what do you think of overall both those guys being healthy and ready to go on the active list?
Yeah, first, I will say I don't think we see Deneric Prince hardly at all besides special teams. I think would be something dramatic would have to happen to see Deneric Prince. I know people are probably going to be wanting to see him. Barring blowout or injury, I don't think you will see him carrying the rock. Echo Boyedo, I liked him a lot in training camp. I liked him when he got the opportunity to go to the preseason. I thought he was really solid, man. He's really slender. Very thin, but he showed a very good job of staying in the receiver's hip pocket, as well as tackling and being physical for a guy that size. It was a little surprising at how solid he was, how physical he was. Now, of course, part of that is you're going up against a lot of wide receiver 2s and a lot of wide receiver 3s. A lot different when you're going up against some legitimate NFL wide receivers. But I like it because I think there's some toolsy raw aspect of Echo Boyedo that really stood out to me. Again, all you K-State fans, I know you're excited to see him there. Him and FAU hanging out on the bench together. But no, I do like it. I don't expect to see a ton of him, but I appreciate the fact that he is still here. He's hanging around. He's trying to make his name known, and maybe even a future move here, we might see a little bit of what he can do.
Yeah. There's no other surprises there on the list. Caliendo out again, BJ Thompson out again, Malik Herring out again, Neil Farrell out again. That completes that list. But Adam, I want to go to you. There's some really interesting things happening with the Packers these days, especially on the defensive side. Guys who can come, guys who were in and guys who aren't. Jair Alexander is going to miss his 5th consecutive game. When you have a corner like that, that's usually a great asset. And when you miss a corner like that, that leaves a big hole against this Chiefs team that's kind of struggled to find its footing. You talked positively about the Raiders game and believing in that way forward. Without Alexander, what's your take with him being out there?
Yeah, he's one of their best players, and that they're sorely going to miss him. Joe Barry isn't that good of a defensive coordinator anyway, in my opinion. So I think the guy we have to watch out for is Rashawn Gary, the young edge who is 4th among all defensive linemen in pass rush win rate, only behind Garrett, Bosa, and Parsons. That's how good this kid is. Our tackles have been a little bit shaky. That might even be sugarcoating it at this point. So I think they're going to really have to hold up against Gary, and that is my primary concern with the Packers defense. Just, Mahomes has time. He's going to figure it out. Someone said earlier, MVS revenge game. I wouldn't exactly count on that. That's probably one of the more unlikely scenarios, but you never know. I also saw that we're wearing all white tonight. So the white on white is a clean look, maybe the best look the Chiefs have. And it's traditionally been pretty good luck. So I'm feeling good about the offensive defensive matchup there.
I just want to add this. The Packers have, over recent weeks, they've been rolling with 2 backup safeties and a backup inside linebacker. They get all 3 guys back tonight. Devondre Campbell, you got Ford back, you got Savage back off IR, all up the heart of the defense. They finally have some starters, and they've been reeling off some wins while they're playing with a lot of backups in the heart of that defense. None of those guys move the meter for me in terms of being scared. But if I'm the Packers fan, I'm thinking it's good to get some reinforcements, even if Alexander is still out. I want to add that. Sterling, while we're looking at the Green Bay defense and the way the Chiefs could attack it, what are your primary thoughts there? What are you looking for?
Yeah, through the ground. The Chiefs have been effective this season when they, again, it's really weird, especially me saying this like I'm talking about the 1990s Cowboys, but establishing the run and good defense, taking care of the football. When they do that, they win. They're not the most explosive offense in the NFL anymore. At least it's not the 2018 Kansas City Chiefs, but they're good enough to score 31 points in 3 quarters. Now, again, the Raiders defense is not the 85 Bears. But again, they took care of the ball. They still have Mahomes. He will still make the Mahomesian throws. But the Green Bay defense is susceptible to getting gashed on the ground. They're 27th in the NFL in opponents' rush yards per game, giving up 135.2 yards per game on the ground. Rush yards or rush per attempt, 4.4, which is 23rd in the NFL. So I'm expecting big things from Isaiah Pacheco, being able to pound the rock. We mentioned the cold weather. Get him going. You know, I heard Curtis Seabolt today on Sports Radio 810. I had the pregame show over there this morning. Pacheco runs like he's trying to save a family from a burning building. Like he just puts you on his back and he's running you out of there. He's going to bring fire to the icy tundra of Lambeau Field.
Adam, let me go to you on this because last week I'm looking at the Packers. I'm watching the Lions. They really did an excellent job on Aiden Hutchinson. I mean, they really shut him down. He had one hit on Love, but Love played a real clean game and had a great stat line because of it. And the Packers took one from the Lions and are now very much alive in the NFC playoff conversation because of it. The Chiefs can move Chris Jones around. There's a lot of versatility there, but he's the engine by which this whole thing moves. What are you looking for? Like, do you think that they can nullify him like they did Aiden? Do you think Jones is much better than that? Like, what are you watching for on that Chiefs pass rush?
Well, as good as Aiden Hutchinson is, I think Chris Jones, at least right now, is athletically for his position at a different level. So I think they will find a mismatch. But I will say Green Bay, not just this year, but historically, very good at mixing and matching that offensive line, even when Bakhtiari's out, Elton Jenkins, it doesn't really matter. They plug in Zach Tom or whoever, and things seem to work. They're very well coached on that side of the ball. But, there are just these moments where Chris Jones seems to find his opportunity and takes over. We saw that last week. I think we're going to see a little bit of that again tonight. Would like to see Karlaftis and Aminihu get going because we're really going to need those two down the stretch. So not just Chris, I'd like to see the whole gang get in on the fun. Maybe the last time Spags, and our friends in Wisconsin would probably call him Spags, but
Spags.
He went after Jordan Love as much as I've ever seen him blitz any quarterback, and he had great success. And I think this version of Jordan Love is going to be more poised. And I kind of like Jordan Love. I think he's kind of a toolsy guy who's sort of starting to figure it out. So I wouldn't underestimate him, but also Spags is a different breed than a lot of these other defensive coordinators. So I think he's going to have Love on his toes, and we're going to rack up some pressures and sacks.
Love on his mind.
Love. Hey, let me throw this up to either one of you because if I'm a Packers fan, if I'm looking at this from the other side, this is a great game for where my quarterback is at. We've put together some decent wins. We got some momentum. There's reason to believe, yet also there's a lot of hype coming in. Like suddenly is like, oh yeah, they won 3 or 4. We just won it may be time to deflate things a little bit. If I'm a Packers fan, I want a reality test. And then if he looks great, then I can get real excited. But if not, then you've given me some game film to sort of humble ourselves, go back and figure out what do we have to do to get to that next level. I wonder, just from either one of you, what do you think of that? What are you thinking of Love versus what Spags wants to do and where he's at in his career?
I think it's a huge test because if you look at this, 4-game stretch they've been on, right? So they've gone 3 to the last 4. It's been against the Lions, the Chargers, the Steelers, and the Rams. And I found some interesting stat. It was like the 31st, the 27th, the 26th, and like the 18th pass defense in the NFL. they've not been playing the best. And the one they played against that was decent was the Steelers, and he threw 2 interceptions.
Mm-hmm.
The other 3 games, he played smart, took care of the football, 0 interceptions, and they came away with the victory. So that's what it comes down to is what does he do against a pass defense in Kansas City by most metrics is top 5, top 3, some they're even first, the best pass defense in the NFL. What does Jordan Love do in this situation against this echelon? That remains to be seen. Again, I like Jordan Love too. As the season's gone on, he started off, completing 50% of his passes, but he was getting a lot of touchdowns, the big plays, and we all realized this was unsustainable. And then they lost 4 games in a row, 5 games in a row, whatever it was, and we're like, yeah, they came back down to earth. Well, then they went on a good win streak, and why was that? He took care of the football, but again, not against the defense that Kansas City possesses.
Yeah. Yeah, Adam, let me shade that to you here, because typically we see L'Jarius Sneed trailing, we talk about him versus the big guns, right? What he did against A.J. Brown, what he did against Jamar Chase, what he's done against other, when he plays those guys, those are the guys he goes. The Packers don't have that guy. There's not to me, there's not an obvious oh yeah, Sneed's going to be on him. Maybe, they have some promising parts where maybe Reed in the slot, Watson, but by far this feels like the star powers on the Chiefs side with McDuffie, Sneed. What's your take on how this pass defense is going to affect that?
Yeah, it's definitely advantage Chiefs. They've got maybe the best corner tandem in the game and a trio of exceptionally smart safeties. And the whole group communicates extremely well coached by Dave Merritt. I think maybe, though, Christian Watson, if you just look at him as a specimen, one of the most athletic receivers in the league, finally seems to have the light come on. Last week against the Lions, went 5 for 94 and a tutty. Kind of a struggle of a season for him with injuries and whatnot. He had a great rookie year, at least second half of the rookie year. So maybe you'll see some Sneed on him and more of McDuffie on Reed, who Reed's more of the, we really liked him coming out of the draft. He's more of the technician. He's more of a Terry McLaurin or a Stephon Diggs. I'm not saying he's on their level, but he's that kind of player. He looks very good. So This is a young wide receiver group. They've also got Romeo Doubs. They've got Dontavian Wicks, a rookie out of Virginia. And then Luke Musgrave, their rookie tight end from Oregon State, is out, but they've drafted another one in the 3rd round, Tucker Kraft, out of South Dakota State, and he looks pretty good. So I think this is a young group that makes some gains and some improvements every week. Again, I wouldn't underestimate them, but I think the Chiefs can handle this group.
Yeah, they drafted 13 rookies this year, by the way. 13 draft picks.
Jeez.
It's absurd.
That's crazy. Sterling, let me go to you. You have to mention it. Taylor Swift's in the house, 4-0. Kelce's averaged 100 yards a game when she's here and rooting. So let's just use that as a segue to ask, what are you looking for from Kelce tonight in a game like this versus a Joe Barry defense?
I think what we saw him do against the Raiders, he got his swagger back. He finally showed some good fire, right? He looked more like himself. We talked about for a little bit, he looked a little slow, maybe, a little worn down. But I do think it helps when you get Rashee Rice going, when you get Pacheco going. There's less focus just on him. You also saw the game plan offensively. They put him at times out wide with Rashee Rice in the slot, actually on the same side as him. That helped to alleviate some of the coverages that he could potentially see, some of the bracketing, the doubles. I think that's very interesting. Again, Barry's very bland, very basic. You'd have to imagine that you're going to have to imagine that he'll have a good day against this Green Bay defense. I'm expecting good things from Travis Kelce. I don't see why he wouldn't go for 75 and a tutty.
Yeah.
He's such a tough guy too. I don't think we always know the full picture with his health because he just guts it out and plays. Mm-hmm. But he recently said something like he's always in pain. He's had 10 surgeries or something around there.
Crazy.
So I think he's going to have these little, at his age, these little mini slumps when he's not feeling well, or just one team happens to take him away. But every time we start saying, or someone starts saying, has Kelce lost a step, he comes roaring back every single time.
Man, you're sporting a Rashee Rice jersey. Last week was the breakout performance I think all of us have been so hungry to see. Now the attention is going to be, how do you build on that? And he's drawn attention to himself as a go-to target. What do you think we're going to see tonight in Lambeau?
Well, we all know he has the yards after the catch, physicality, and juice. He's got that great burst. But what impressed me last week was that back shoulder catch on the sideline. And then a few weeks ago, he had a diving third down conversion. So we're seeing new wrinkles to his game almost every week. I think they're just going to continue to build on, how the things he can do as he learns the playbook, as him and Mahomes develop chemistry. And they have a lot of chemistry for a first-year player with a new quarterback. So, Andy Reid, I have trust that they will find creative ways to get him in space. And when he's in space, good things happen, because great at evading tackles, hard to bring down. And, he had the best vertical in this class. His 40 time, everyone says, well, he's not very fast. He doesn't have a good 40. Well, that's kind of true. But his 10-yard split, his first 10 yards, one of the three best in this class. So when you get in the ball, he's a bottle rocket.
Man, I love it. Either one of you want to take a prediction on what we're going to see from Mahomes tonight? Maybe a final stat line from Mahomes?
Oof. You go first, Best. I'll let you go first, and I'll either agree or disagree.
Well, Mahomes, I think, always knows when to step into a moment. And we saw Jalen Hurts perhaps ruin his best shot at the MVP tonight. And I think Mahomes, not a lot of people are talking about it right now. But if the 49ers end up as the 1 seed in the NFC, they're not going to give the MVP to Brock Purdy. He might, and I'm serious when I say this, he might be the 6th best offensive player on that team when you really, really think about it. And then you have Mahomes. If he's number 1 in the AFC, I don't know. Are they going to give it to Tyreek Hill? I doubt it. That's a quarterback award at this point. So I think Mahomes wants to capitalize on the momentum and seize the moment. I'm going to say four touchdowns for Mahomes tonight.
Ooh, I love hearing that. That for sure.
Yeah, I love hearing it too, but I don't believe in it. I get what you're saying, dude, but no. I think it's going to be a little of a lower scoring game personally. I think it's going to be more of a ground game from Kansas City. I think it's going to be a little bit of what we saw against Vegas. I do think the Packers defense is better than Vegas. Again, I think they're most susceptible on the ground, and you're seeing Pacheco's snap count as well as his carries numbers just rise. The Chiefs' offensive line has gotten better. Run blocking as the season's progressed. I think you're going to see a little heavier dose. I'm not saying Mahomes isn't going to have a good game. I think he's going to be really solid, but I don't think they're going to need him to go out there and throw for 330 and 4 tutties. I would think along the lines of 270, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions, really smart football.
One of those I think will be running, by the way. That's one of the
touchdowns.
Yeah, that's one of the new wrinkles. Mahomes with the drops, with the receivers not being on the same page, he's had to dip into that bag. And usually he waits until later in the season or even into the playoffs to become that tactical scrambler. But we've just seen him do it more than ever. And I don't think there's anyone better at doing it.
Yeah. I want to get to a surprise performer, and I want to get your final predictions. But I just want to say, anyone hanging out in the chat, we so appreciate all the questions, anything there. As always, anyone, if you have a chance to hit the like button, to subscribe to the channel. This has been a great year with some great success. It's fun following a team with also a healthy community of fans. And right now, Chiefs fans have it great with so many great options in media. And it's been a lot of fun doing these channels and shows all week long. Here on the Arrowhead Addict. Do we call it a network? Are we a network, guys? I don't know. We have multiple shows that make us a network. Anyway, Yeah, we appreciate you guys hanging out. Adam, we'll start with you. Do you have a surprise performer to watch for tonight?
I'm going to go out on a limb here. I've been burned by him before, but the last time he was healthy, I saw more emphasis on getting Kadarius Toney the ball, on designing plays for him. Now, he might not have the highest snap count. He might even be like 4th or 5th among wide receivers, but when they get him in the game, there's like a 50-50 chance almost that he's getting a touch. So I mean, I know they've kind of been holding him up their sleeve, but it's December now. We've got to unleash the Kraken. Kadarius Toney, if he's ever going to really help this team and be a major impact player down the stretch, now's the time.
What about you, Sterling? Surprise performer for the night.
Okay, so it can't be Isaiah Pacheco because I've already been singing his praises all evening. So I'll say Clyde Edwards-Helaire goes for over 15 yards. 15 yards. That's not a high expectation, but I think he's looked decent. Okay, the last 2 games, Clyde's looked a little better. Just throwing that out there, but in reality, I'll go Sky Moore. I think Sky Moore found something. He finally started to settle in a little bit in that game against Vegas. He needed something to get his confidence back up. Him juking and kind of carrying Marcus Peters, and then Marcus Peters getting cut after the game. Good job, Sky, for that one. He needed that. And I've said for a little bit now, he's not necessarily a bad route runner, but he's trying too hard. Like, he's trying too much. He's trying to be so precise in everything he does. He's getting in his own dome. I think we saw him start to break out of that a little bit, kind of get the yips and put him to the side. So I think Sky Moore will get over 40 yards. How about that? Over 40 for Sky.
Yeah, that's good. That's a good amount for him. I'm going to go Chenal with 1.5 next tonight.
Tasty.
I like that potential. I think you were right about dialing it up against Love again. I think Spags has something special tonight. So I think that's it. That's going to be it for me. Let's go around the horn. Final predictions. Adam Best, what do you got?
Chiefs 34, Packers 13.
Whoa.
I think they're hitting their stride at the right time. Offensively, defensively, they've been, other than a weird blip last week, they've hit their stride all season long.
Yeah. Sterling.
24-16. Again, I'm expecting a slightly lower scoring game. I think the Chiefs control it. I think even 8 points is going to be closer than the game really indicates. I think they're going to maybe kick a field goal. It's 13 points. Like, hey, it's a 2-score game. We got to kick the field goal right now. They do that. It doesn't matter. Chiefs take care of business.
I'm kind of between, but I'm going to say 27-12. I think it's going to be a field goal fest for Jordan Love and company. I think they're going to go back to their homes in Green Bay after this with some humbling game film. That's what I think. And I think we'll see the Chiefs put up 27 and get it done.
Did you see Patrick? He copied me, dude. You heard me say it first, and then he put in the chat 24-16. He copied me. But also, there's no chance that both of us are wrong. This has to be a sign.
Could be. I saw it, and it opened up my eyes. So
okay, man for man. Okay, we did this bit last week.
Right. Yeah. Well, folks, we'll let everyone go to the bathroom, get their refreshments, do whatever you need to do to take in before you take in the game. But on behalf of Adam Best, Sterling Holmes, Patrick Allen, who's hanging out in the chat but refuses to show his face, and myself, and Prince Tega Wanogo represent. By the way, why isn't Prince Tega just hanging out with us? Because he's not playing. Like, he should be a guest on here, right? Am I wrong?
No.
Anyway, and our producer Richard, we're certainly hyped to see the Chiefs win tonight. Thanks for listening and hanging out with us. We'll see you back at halftime. Otherwise, go Chiefs.